Hi, I'm Kimber Shafer with Rage in the Cage, Oklahoma, and we are having a fundraising event on April 19th, 2014 for the Denny family. I was able to meet the Dennys back when I worked at News 9 during the Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols trials. And tonight I'm here with Jim, Claudia, and Brandon Denny. And Jim, April 19th, 1995, you dropped off Brandon and Rebecca at the American Kids Daycare there at the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. And take it from there. What happened next?
Well, we dropped our children off as usual, and kissed them goodbye, and each went to work. And at 9:02 a.m., a person by the name of Tim McVeigh pulled a truck up right next to the daycare center, and the top of the truck was actually 5 feet from the daycare center, and he pulled the truck up and detonated 7,000 pounds worth of explosives, and our children, along with the four other children that survived, were about 50 feet from the bomb.
When I saw that building for the first time, I just stopped. I couldn't move. I don't think anybody could have survived that. And somebody was just pulling and pushing me just to get me moving along the road to get to where we needed to be to find out more information. And I think Jim was pulling me and somebody was behind me pushing me, but I just stopped. I was in shock.
So it's been a long, long, long road, but we've made it 19 years, and we've made it with the help of people. And Kimber, I have to tell you, this means a lot to us.
When we think of the Oklahoma City bombing, we think of the injuries. I mean, Brandon and Rebecca had massive injuries, and we'll talk about those in just a minute. And we think about the emotional trauma that happens and the things that people deal with emotionally. But the one thing that many of us don't think about is the devastation that something like this can do to your finances. So tell us a little bit. I mean, we're 19 years later, and you're still feeling the effects of that.
Well, it's amazing that some people think that terrorists are just out to hurt people or out to kill people. Well, they're out to ruin people. I mean, that's part of the terrorism structure. I make the comment quite often that, yes, Brandon and Rebecca survived, and we're so happy that God looked at us and decided that we were capable enough to take care of them if he did let them survive. But financially, it murdered us. And there's no easy way around it. We had one goal in mind, is to take care of our children and our family. I mean, when you lose about $500,000 in paychecks for 11 years after the bombing, it hurts and it stings, and it really caught up to us lately. But like I say, with people like Rage in the Cage, Oklahoma, willing to reach out to us and help us, regardless of whatever the amount of money is, it really doesn't matter. It means so much to us that people in Oklahoma are willing to help us out. It's great, and we love them for it.
All right, and let's talk just a little bit about the injuries that Brandon and Rebecca did sustain. Both of them were in the hospital, Rebecca for 10 days, and Brandon, you guys actually Jim had to take Brandon to Dallas for a while, and the family was split up for about a year. So tell me a little bit about their injuries and just the recovery process.
Well, Rebecca, we'll start with that little redheaded girl first. Rebecca was in the hospital for 10 days. She was blasted over the entire left side of that beautiful little body she has, and she actually had blue plastic that the FBI told us that the explosives were in from the barrels blown through her cheek. And she was never critical, but she sure was blown up pretty good. Brandon, on the other hand, actually looked better, but he was much more serious. Brandon had a piece of wallboard blown in the upper left portion of his head. He lost a portion of his brain tissue and a portion of his skull. And for the first 40 plus days that Brandon was in intensive care at Presbyterian Hospital, they couldn't tell us whether he'd live or not. So, and if he ever did live, he'd never walk or talk again. So what Brandon, his hospital stay was 45 days at Presbyterian in intensive care, 3 major brain surgeries. We traveled down to Dallas and spent to the rehabilitation center there and spent 55 days inpatient. Then we came back to Oklahoma, and it wasn't a matter of a few weeks later. He suffered a very serious brain infection and was put back in the hospital for another 26 days. So he spent right about 126 days in intensive care and rehab in 1995. The last day in the hospital, Brandon underwent another major brain surgery. That was 4 total brain surgeries, and after that, he just seemed to get a little better, a little better, a little better, each a little bit at a time. What we have here is a young man now that's 22 years old. He's very intelligent. He's kind. He's gentle. And he's a true man. And we have a young daughter that's 21, that's beautiful, and a junior at Oklahoma State University. So they're doing good. They've been through it. We really feel it at 3 years old for Brandon and 2 years old for Rebecca. They really had to learn about life early.
How did you finally find out that Brandon and Rebecca were okay?
Well, we met Assistant Fire Chief John Hanson then, and he told us that they were going to funnel every information about the bombing through the American Red Cross. So he said I would just go there and to wait to find out information. So we managed to get over to the American Red Cross, and we were in this room, and they came and got us because there was a newscast came on and said that they had a red-haired, fair-skinned, blue-eyed little girl at Southwest Medical Center. So they came in and got us, and they said, "We believe we found your daughter." When we got there, we went into the emergency room and we said, "We believe you have our daughter here." And they said, "Are you Mr. and Mrs. Denny?" And we said, "Yes," and they said, "Well, she's here, and just stay right here and we'll have the doctor come out and talk to you." And that was at noon. And then we didn't find out where Brandon was until about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. It was tough. It was the worst day and the best day that we ever had. I always say that they're miracles twice over, because they're miracles when they're born, because they're a gift from God, and we got that second miracle on April 19th.
Jim, this question is for you. Brandon required, even after getting out of the hospital, some intensive therapy. 3 days a week, in fact, he was in therapy. And just getting the kids to and from school and all of the things that you had to do and take care of, that did require you to quit working. So I know that that's been tough on your family as far as finances.
Well, it's been very tough financially, but I want to tell everybody out there that it's been the most gratifying time of my life. I think being able to spend this time with our children, to be able to take them to school and pick them up. Brandon was in therapy in Oklahoma City for 7 years, 3 days a week, 3 therapies per day, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and physical therapy. To me, there's nothing more gratifying than helping our children and helping our family stay together.
Rage in the Cage is doing this benefit for the Denny family, and I hear this is the first time that you will actually have experienced a mixed martial arts event. What do you think about that?
Well, actually, I think it's fantastic. I think people look at mixed martial arts as just the most violent thing they've ever seen in their lives, and I'm not a violent person. Nobody in my family is a violent person, but these people train very hard, and they're gifted with a talent, and why not go out and use it? I mean, it's sanctioned. They have sanctions on it, so it's not. I think it's wonderful that they're able to exhibit a talent in front of an audience. I think if you have that talent, use it. April 19th, the day of April 19th, no matter what anniversary it is difficult. We go down to the memorial service, and although it's a cross with us between being happy and sad because our children survived, we know what the other people have been through. The people, 168 lives that were lost, and unborn children that were lost. And it's difficult, and I have a real tough time with it. Claudia does, and I know Brandon and Rebecca do. So it's going to be a real pleasure after that service to come home and rest up a little bit and go to Rage in the Cage. I mean, we're really looking forward to it.
Well, we're really looking forward to having you guys there, and we are so honored to be able to take part in this little bit of your life and to bless you a little bit. I mean, it's just a small piece of the pie, and when it comes to the overall picture of everything you've been through this past 19 years. But I tell you, these fighters are looking forward to fighting for your family and for doing their part in blessing you. And we are honored to be able to do that. This fundraising event for the Denny family is going to happen on April 19th, 2014 at the Oklahoma City Farmers Public Market, 311 South Klein in Oklahoma City. We have 26 fighters and dozens of other people that are scheduled to give their time and their talent to this event. But we also need your help. Please purchase tickets at www.ticketstorm.com or any Metro Party Galaxy location. If you need more information, visit us, Rage in the Cage Oklahoma, on Facebook. For Rage in the Cage Oklahoma, I'm Kimber Shafer.